All right, we are back here with another billionaire mindset guy, or mentality, mindset, mind flex. We just heard from Sebastian, who says he's building $1 billion community. Sean blows my mind every time I talk to him. I first came in contact with him through Keegan as well, and he was pitching a business concept to Keegan, who I believe Keegan became an investor in. Um, Sean comes from a teaching background, and he goes deep into behaviorism, into teaching, learning. He's very obsessed with how can we learn more efficiently instead of the way school teaches us to learn. And he's an avid traveler. He loves to just take breaks and relax. And he has definitely very, just like I see Franz is on the call. He reminds me a lot of Franz of he gets a lot of stuff done, yet he seems very peaceful as he goes through the journey. So, Sean, I'm super pumped up to hear what you're about to bring us regarding behaviorism and how we can, how can we train ourselves to be more productive. So, thanks for coming on. I can't hear you. I'm not sure. Yeah, we still can't hear you. It says you're on mute, but it sounded like you just don't have an audio connection.
Here. How about now?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Cool.
awesome. It still says you're on mute, but yeah, it works.
I joined it from my phone. My computer is anyways, not important. I'm here.
Awesome.
Um yeah, real quick I want to touch on what you said about how I view coaching and training and education in similar ways. Uh to me, all of these things come down to shaping a nervous system. So throwing a ball and learning arithmetic have a lot of different overlaps. And in this specific one, I'm going to talk about making and breaking habits because some habits are really productive for us. Some habits are the opposite. Some habits take our time, take our energy, and it's hard to break habits right away. So, without further ado, first thing, most simple. And by the way, if y'all have questions, I'm going to have time at the end, and you can always reach out to me on Instagram as well. First thing, the most simple is make it reinforcing. This does not mean you make it fun. This does not mean that you're giving yourself a treat every time you do something. The definition of reinforcement is a consequence that makes a behavior more likely to occur again. I'll send my Instagram. I saw a message. I'll send it after the talk. So it's not just making it fun, it's making it more likely to do it again. And I'm going to go over a few of those things here. So one of the things when you're making or breaking a habit is you should gradually increase or decrease, right? Just like when you're training, you don't jump into 50% body weight Jefferson curls. That's a recipe to get really, really hurt. Um, Also, the same if you're quitting something. If you're quitting checking your phone and you just try to go cold turkey without going into nature or without making drastic changes, it's probably not going to work and you're probably going to fall back. So gradual increase and decrease, another pretty simple one. I'm going to move on to the next one. Further on, they get a little more complicated. Bridging aversives with later events. So a lot of things that we don't want to do because they're aversive. We don't want to read books. We don't want to read boring books. We don't want to, a lot of people don't want to work out. Um, Flossing, anything. Flossing is hard to do if you don't do it, if you don't have that habit. But if you can bridge those aversives with their consequence, it helps a lot. So I'm going to work out because I know the last time I did it, I felt really good. or because I'm going to work out because I am trying to do a goal. I'm trying to get another inch on my vertical. I'm trying to get another minute off my mile, whatever it may be. Realizing that that aversive is necessary to attaining your goal is one of the easiest ways to get past the suck. Lowering and raising response cost. So in the field of behaviorism, response cost is similar to opportunity cost. Similar, a little different. Response cost is basically how hard something is to do. So I'll give you an example from my work. If I have, or I'll give you an example of training my dog. If I want my dog to come do something pretty complicated, if I want my dog to ignore a squirrel and come back to me, it's going to be a lot harder if I'm way across the yard and I'm really quiet, but it's going to be a lot easier if I'm closer to her. So there's a proximity effect there. Other things that you can do graduated guidance. So I might have my dog do something really simple at first. I'll have her sit. She can sit and watch a squirrel. Then I'll have her look at me. Then I'll have her look at me again. Then I'll call her to come over to me, right? So I'm making it easier for her to do the hard thing. The hard thing is ignoring the squirrel and coming over to me. But if I can do these little baby steps to get there, it makes it a lot easier. We can do the same thing with ourselves. When I had a squat rack in my apartment, I was squatting every single day. When I have to drive 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get to a gym, it's a lot harder to go to the gym consistently. So we can do that with lots of different things. Maybe I'll have questions on that later. I'm going to keep going. Max, thanks for posting to Instagram. Reinforcement scheduling. This one is a little more complicated, so hang with me. Oh, no, it's a little more complicated. So we have reinforcement schedules, and these affect us in every day of our life, whether you know it or not. You can have a constant reinforcement schedule and intermittent reinforcement schedule. There are more, but I'm going to talk about those. An intermittent reinforcement schedule means it's not on a set time, it's not on a set frequency, right? So not every time you pick up your phone is there going to be reinforcing stuff on there. Not every time you go to the gym are you going to have an awesome time. Sometimes aren't great, but because you're being intermittently reinforced, well, intermittent reinforcement is stronger than constant reinforcement. One thing to do, I did this to break the habit of checking my phone constantly. You can move from an intermittent reinforcement schedule to a constant reinforcement schedule. Something as simple as, I'll tell you what I did to stop checking my phone so much. I got on a constant reinforcement schedule. I put a timer on this little device I have for dog training. It vibrates every set amount of time. So you can set it to vibrate every 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, whatever. And it just clips on your hip and it vibrates. Bzz, that's it. Super simple, out of the way. You don't have to click any buttons. Super low response effort, right? What I did is I went on a constant reinforcement schedule for checking my phone. Every minute I would check my phone. And eventually that gets boring. That's a lot. That's unnecessary. It's almost sickening, right? You get satiated so quickly. And then I did it every 2 minutes, then every 4 minutes, then every 10 minutes. And I kept doing this until I was at an interval I was comfortable with. And I didn't have urges to check my phone through this time. Because when you check your phone, when you have the urge to check it, and there's something cool there, you're reinforcing that behavior. You're reinforcing that, I should check my phone. And that intermittent reinforcement is so strong. It's so strong and it's so hard to break. So if you go onto a constant reinforcement schedule, thin it out until you're comfortable with that, it'll be a lot easier to break habits. Recognizing antecedents. This one is this one's a little tricky. to do on a personal level. All it means is recognize the things that trigger the behaviors you do or do not want. So when I hang out with friends, if one of them picks up a basketball, I'm going to ask them to pass it to me, right? Even if we're just inside the house and I'm doing low dribbles, seeing certain things trigger me to want to participate. If you're trying to quit smoking, seeing someone smoke a cigarette or smoke a vape is triggering. It, it's an antecedent that makes you want to engage in that behavior. So just recognizing why am I trying to do this? Why did I reach for I don't drink soda, I don't drink, but why did I reach for a soda? Why did I reach for a beer? Why did I think about checking my phone? And just recognizing what made you want to do those things, right? That is hard to do. A lot of us, all of us, don't know every single thing that is triggering us to check these things, to engage in these behaviors, but you can recognize some, and then you can recognize more. And the more you can recognize, the more you can be in control of your behavior. This is an honorable mention. If you're trying to make drastic behavioral changes very, very quickly, novelty. If you go camping, it's very easy to not check your phone. You're in a totally new environment. Your schedule is totally different. And this could be a great time to start a behavior, great time to start reading a book, great time to start, if you're on a road trip, that's a great time to start a no weight workout program or to begin jogging. Novelty is so powerful because it pulls us out of these behavior patterns that we have in our day-to-day life. Now, if you're always traveling and you always have novelty, it's not novel anymore. If every day you're getting in the car and driving to a new place, you have, you likely have some sort of schedule, some sort of ritual that takes you throughout the day. So novelty here just means anything that's dramatically different than your day-to-day scheduled life. I went a little quicker than I expected, but I have time for questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, that was awesome. Do you want to stop sharing your screen and then maybe I'm sure there's some questions. Uh,
Absolutely.
Steven's always got one.
I gotta think. I gotta think.
Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, ideas?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say, no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
So what, this process that you've arrived at, what was like your motivator for it? Was there like a certain habit or practice that you wanted to implement and you needed the skill set to do it, or did you just arrive at it over time?
So like Max said, I was a school teacher. Now I work in a behavior clinic. Um, Working in a behavior clinic, I got obsessed with behavior interventions. So I was teaching kids to be able to self-regulate, stop throwing chairs, uh, how to interact with peers, cognitive skills like how to trace paper, pre-academic skills like drawing shapes, academic skills like recognizing shapes, recognizing colors, arithmetic, reading, stuff like that. So that's sort of what spurred me into this train of thought. And then my thought pattern turned to, if this works for these kids that have significant learning disabilities, why would this not work with me? And then I took a step back and I thought, and I still try to do this time to time, are all my behaviors beneficial? Am I doing the things that I'm proud to do? And if the answer was yes, then cool. Let's keep doing it. Let's reinforce it. If the answer is no, then, well, I can change things, right? Why do I want to live a life where I'm not proud of every step I take? So it was just that. It was the realization that this works with anyone and everyone, including dogs, birds, fish, uh, And it's a great way to shape the life we want to live.
For sure. Thank you, Sean. I feel like you need like a traveling circus to exhibit all these behaviors that you can teach all these different creatures.
Yeah, it's hard. I wanted to dive deeper into all the different things, and if anyone has clarifying questions, I'm happy to go back. But it's a really, really deep field, and I mean, we're talking about them teaching pigeons how to read 50 sight words that go along with commands. So teaching a pigeon to read 50 words in a matter of 2 weeks, those principles can help you rapidly learn. Um, Teaching animals that typically exhibit significant aggression can help us learn how to calm ourselves down. It's a really interesting, cool field.
Would you be up for like a attempt at an impromptu lesson? Because I got like, hold on, man. Like I got a bunch of animals we could practice with over here.
I would I'd need to be there, but I would be down to do a live dog training session with y'all someday.
I'm there.
My
I'm
dog's
totally
not
there.
here. We're in the middle of moving right now. I'm in my old room right now. I don't know if y'all can tell. It's empty. I still got to sweep and get the tools out, but we're in the middle of moving. No dogs here. Otherwise, I would indulge.
Sean, what would you say is like the most important principle you've taken from behaviorism and applied to your own productivity?
The environment is everything, and you are the environment. So the environment is everything. If you are in a distracting setting, you're going to be distracted. But distracting is different for different people. Some people, I get distracted when I see movement. I don't do well reading outside. I get distracted when I'm in a silent room. I do really well with white noise. If you're in a distracting environment, you'll be distracted. If you're in a frustrating environment, you're going to be frustrated. Um, so the big thing is recognizing the environment that you're in, the effect that it's having on you, and then from there you can sort of change it how you want. I want to be more focused. Sometimes we don't want to be too focused. If you're doing something creative, you want distractions, right? Uh, but that's what it is. The environment
Can you
is
explain that a little bit more
everything.
with the creativity? Like you said, when you're doing something creative, you want to be more You want to be. You mean like more like don't be so structured. Just kind of like go for a
Yeah.
walk, like go flow and stuff.
So when I got a marketing degree, I got a creative process down pretty well. And the creative process is just a few steps. It's ingest, digest, uh, and I forget the third one that rhymes, but it's ingest, take in as much info as you can, digest it, uh, like really take it in, really try to understand it. The third one is I'm forgetting the term for it, but it's basically stop doing that. Stop thinking about it. Uh, stop trying to think about that problem you're trying to solve. Do something different. Get your mind off of it. And then the fourth thing is things will come to you, right? Um, when I was doing marketing, most of my creative plans were in the middle of a basketball game. I would pause the basketball game, I'd go write in my little journal, and I would get back to it. Because that's when creative ideas would come to me. That's my personal creativity structure, but that's not the best for everyone necessarily.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I see Steven's got a question.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. With sports, super good for me as well. The question I was gonna ask though is when you're working with people who, let's say, have kids who are kind of chaotic, they give them like it's a hard environment because they have kids, or they have or maybe they are the kids and it's hard to change their environment from chaotic. How do
Yeah.
you how do you work with them to create that more stable environment to get more consistency? My perspective, I'm a personal trainer, so getting people to have a consistency to work out, but sometimes they're just like in chaotic environments. So like, oh, I missed it today and they have like kind of decent reasons, but their environment reality.
Yeah. So when I'm working with kids, we have this at our clinic, all clinics really. We have a belief that we meet the kid where they're at. So if the kid is learning their alphabet, still learning their alphabet, we are not going to teach them to read sentences. We're not meeting them where they're at. Same thing can apply to parents. If a parent is struggling to understand um, why a kid is fussy around dinner time, then we're not going to be ready to move into the step of teaching the parent how to have the kid read and write at home, right? So we meet them where they're at. And this can mean different things in different fields. If some companies do a great job of this, Uber, Lyft, they meet the user where they're at. They literally deliver a service to you at your feet. Um, as far as personal trainers go, I know some personal trainers meet people in their house. My mom and stepdad have a personal trainer that comes to the house. Otherwise, they would not do it. Meeting people where they're at, I think, is the best overall answer for how you can reduce that chaotic environment. Um, can you give me an example of like how it goes for you? You get a text from a client saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I can't do it right now. This is the reason." And then do they reschedule? What do they do?
So the main kind of thing I'm talking about is the online programs that I've been running for people. So in person, it's like easy to reschedule because the environment does change. They come to my house to train, so it's easier. But when
Big
I'm training,
novelty effect.
yeah, when I'm training people online, and they're either doing it at a gym or they're doing it at their house, I'll get stuff like, "Hey, my brother went." I think one of them was actually he just like my family went to the sports game and then they were going out after, and then I didn't realize how long they were going. Or a family member got sick and I had to take care of them. And I've gotten both of those like a few times. So just like little things like that, how would you change their mindset to get them more motivated, I guess?
So I think a lot of time we lose motivation because we don't see us capable of uh, we don't see ourselves capable of achieving what we want to in those settings. So if I'm at someone's house taking care of them because they're sick, I might not have a weight set there. I might not want to leave them alone to go somewhere. But if I had a different workout program for that time that did not require a weight set that I could do with just my body and a set of stairs or a curb, whatever it may be, like, doing pistol squats, doing step ups, that could be meeting them where they're at environmentally. And that could also help change their mindset of, I can't do this. I have to be home all day. I can't work out because I don't know. When I lost my weight set, I didn't think that doing push-ups was going to do anything, right? Bang out 30, 40 push-ups, see no effect day to day. But then I discovered calisthenics and I figured out I can lean forward into the push-up, and that's a strong stimulus response, right? Then I felt like I was doing work. I didn't need a big weight set to do that. So that was something that changed my mindset around needing a weight set. That might work similar to people that are not able to make it to the gym or have to run family errands. There's probably stuff that they can do while sitting in the car. Do grip strengthening sitting in the car. Do step ups when you're taking care of a sick family member. Leaning forward into push ups if you don't have a bench set. Things like that. Just meeting them where they're at. Does that answer?
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. I like that, meaning where they're at.
Cool.
Sean, what are you doing next in terms of your big plans for the upcoming future?
So a few things. We're moving today. We're doing garage sale today. I have a funeral to go to an hour south of here. Then I got to come up. We're gonna take the dogs. So this weekend has been chaos. But we're moving into a new house. I'm really excited because there's a Gold's Gym right down the road. So we have awesome weight set right there waiting for us. Awesome parks nearby that we can walk the dogs to. I'm excited to not have roommates anymore. It's just me and the girlfriend. So I'm excited to build even healthier eating and cooking habits, not having to feel like I have to be quiet in the morning, not feeling like I'm trying to figure out which food in the fridge is mine, right? So I'm looking forward to building even stronger habits than I have now. Uh, the application we're building, we are looking for a developer right now. I met someone who does the teaching strategy that I do in behavior clinics, but he is about 7 years more experienced than me. And he's very, very interested in doing what I want to do and automating this. So the big plan is where we work together. We've sort of finalized the pitch that we're going to do to interview people, get people to want to work for us. So we're about to do some hiring for a developer, unpaid, but you get equity. You're for the cause, right? Uh, I finished my master's. I took a break from my master's because if you're still in school, you don't have to pay your student loans back. And why rush into something that isn't going to necessarily benefit you for, until a year after you graduate? So, in short, moving and building great habits, the application is still on my mind constantly. And I'll start school again in the fall and finish in the spring.
Awesome. And Instagram is the best place for people to connect if they want to learn more about you.
Instagram's the best place. My Instagram is sort of just personal life. I don't have Instagram on my phone, so it might take me a few days sometimes to respond. I don't share stories. I don't really post things about behaviorism, but it's still a great place for me to connect. It's where I met Keegan and Ben Patrick, the whole crew. Yeah, Instagram's great. Did you add it to the chat?
Yeah, it's
Sick.
Sean. Let's see, what's the
ST,
user?
yeah,
Yeah,
ST
SVSL.
Slycke.
Yeah, SV Slycke.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Thank y'all.